if you go to a badass school, you probably get to go on some badass school field trips.
Yeah.
But we didn't go to a badass school. We went to a third-rate barrio school. And these are field trip stories. Hit that music!
Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Everything goes in this house tonight from corpulent.
Field trips. You've been on them. Have you been on them?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
a couple.
I've been on a few too, and they all kind of suck. Massive ding-dongs. And I'm going to tell you about them. Most of mine were quasi-educational.
Yeah.
Which, if you were in the AP classes, I'm not talking my own horn. The AP classes where I lived were just slightly less retarded classes. That's really what they were. But
they only play Cool Kings once a day.
Yeah, versus all day long into your fucking eardrums. But yeah, man, I was in AP classes, so we got a few more field trips than the regular students, but they were all educationally oriented. Thing is, we live in a neck of the woods where there aren't a lot of places where you could go to get educated, other than, the Rio, where you could just drift on down the river after they shoot your corpse.
Like a chubby
That's
old
right,
groundhog.
they shoot your corpse.
Why are you already dead?
Yeah, because of where we live. But anyway,
Chubby old groundhog.
one of the fucking field trips they took us on, man, was they took us to a cotton gin.
Yeah.
Not even like a cotton gin, like a city over or some shit.
No.
It was literally the cotton gin
Like
in town.
2 feet away.
Yeah, like we drove like literally it took longer to load us onto the bus than it took for us to get there.
Yeah.
It was literally like a minute away. Like we could have walked there and been there on time. Had more fun along the way, kicking a rock or two or whatever, getting run over or some shit.
Falling to your goddamn doom into the river.
Anything would have been funner than that. Well, there's no river to fall into, but it would have been nice.
Would have been
versus
funner to make a
gin.
river.
So we get there, man, and our AP teacher was your principal eventually, the one who
Oh yeah.
was part of your Hellboy escapade. But
yeah,
she took it. She was a really nice lady.
Yeah, she was cool. I mean, she called me all roker, but
I mean, she has the right. But anyway, she took us to this fucking gin, man, and I mean, what are you doing a gin? What are you doing a cotton gin?
yeah.
First of all, this is a job for grown men, and we're like, in junior high or some shit. And they don't want us around any dangerous mechanisms, obviously. So already, like, 50% of the gin is off limits. Can't go there because that's where all the dangerous but cool-looking stuff is.
Yeah.
So it's not cool for real, but it's cooler than, I don't know,
Dirt.
bales and bales of fucking cotton on dirt. So they take us to the bale section. That's what I'm getting
Christian
here.
Bale's there yelling at someone.
I wish.
It would have been interesting.
It was literally this humongous shack, this tin shack.
Oh, I thought Shaquille.
Oh, I shouldn't say shack. It was a massive building. It was made of tin or aluminum or some shit. And it was just like, I don't know, 20 foot high, on top of each other, bales of cotton. And they're like,
Isn't that cool?
This is the cotton.
You like it?
We don't do anything with it here other than clean it and bale it, and then we send it to places where they do stuff with it. So that's a thing. And we're like, this is the worst trip of all time. So the guy that's taking us on this non-tour of the gin is like, you could see that he wants to be a nice host,
Yeah.
or make his job seem interesting, which it's not. So he's trying his best. Kudos to that guy. But let's face it, it's cotton. It's not going to get more interesting than that. But in an attempt to ingratiate himself with the students, he says, well, you guys can take some cotton if you want. Oh, yeah.
That's a good gift.
This beats a gift shop any fucking day.
You could be going to a museum, getting yourself a little, like, T-Rex. Nope.
Cotton.
Cotton.
So I had a school chum named Michael. And he was the only black kid in our neck of the woods in the school.
Yeah, it is weird. There's always one, huh?
What the fuck? That sounds horrible.
There's always only one, I should say.
Now, to clarify what he means by that is we live in a predominantly Hispanic community.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's Hispanic, and then...
There's like one white guy and
No,
one black
there's
guy.
there's a nice smattering of white folk. Fair, nice smattering of them. They're like, let's say on a 100% scale, it's like 80% Hispanic, fucking like 18% white, and then there's the one black guy and or girl.
Yeah.
Now that sounds horrible, but that's literally how it was where we grew up.
Yeah.
There was the one black guy.
When I was going to school, it was only one white guy and one black guy.
So you got it even like scarcer.
One white chick, I think. That was it. 3.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, there was much more white people when I was around. But yeah, man, this was the one black guy, and he was a real cool cat named Michael, and he had a real dark sense of humor. Like I remember me and him we were doing an assignment together, and we were supposed to do a educational game.
Yeah, you talked about this before.
Yeah, and he made OJ-opoly.
Oh, that's not what you're talking about.
Oh,
No, I thought you were talking about the commercial.
Oh no, that was also him, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, but he made
OJ-opoly.
He made this was when the OJ thing was a big fucking deal. He made it. I was like, so what do we do, man? And he's like, we should do Monopoly only with OJ. And I'm like, that's on you, bud.
Yep.
And he did. And he just had a weird sense of humor, and he was a real fun guy to be around. So I hung out with him mostly when I was in these AP classes. And so when this guy tells us, you guys can go ahead and take cotton, he's like, what are you trying to say? And of course, you got to understand, the community we live in, when I say it's mostly predominantly Hispanic, these are people from Mexico, Hispanic. Yeah. The elders anyway.
Yeah.
They're from Mexico. They don't know half the shit that America is burdened with. So the guy was like, well, you can take cotton. And he was, of course, Michael was trying to make a joke on the whole, the little slavery thing that happened in America.
Yeah.
And this poor Mexican schlub's like, I don't get it. What the fuck's going on? Anyway, he dropped the fucking joke, and he's like, fine, I'm gonna go pick some cotton. So we go over to this bale, and people are they're taking handfuls of cotton and going, I guess this is what I guess cotton's our thing now.
That's pretty good.
Well, Michael decides to go to the extremes. He says, fuck it. We're not getting a gift shop. We're not getting a good trip. I'm taking my fair share of cotton. And he's ripping like tons of cotton out, and he's stuffing them in his pants. And I follow suit because, bad examples or whatever. And I start stuffing my pants with him. By the time we walk out, our pants look, like those exaggerated Western chaps.
Yeah.
That's what our pants look like.
Like freaking MC Hammer filled his pants with
Yeah,
air.
dude, our pants are so full of. We went beyond the boundaries of our pockets. Yeah, we stuffed them in our crotch, stuffed them up the leg. We look like
satyrs.
We look like human poodles. Satyrs.
Yeah, satyrs.
We look horrible.
We look like James McAvoy in freaking Narnia.
Yeah, exactly. We look like hideous beasts from the beyond. And so we're walking out.
Got gold legs and no nuts.
Yeah, we're walking out, clip-clopping along.
Why are you a T-Rex?
With our fucking little goat legs, apparently. Uh-huh. And the guy that invited everybody to take a swatch of cotton, he looks at us, and he knows, of course, that we have stuffed our pants to the gills with cotton. And he's like, did you guys get a sample? And he's like, damn straight. And he walks in, and we get in the van, and they're driving us back to the school for like a minute. And about like 30 seconds into him sitting down and everybody piling into the van, he goes, dude. And I'm like, what's up? And I look over, and he's got this like wide-eyed look. He's sweating all of a sudden. He goes, I think I'm allergic to cotton. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have clothes. And he goes, I guess they're not made of cotton. And he had an allergic reaction to the fucking cotton. And anyway, never saw him again. No,
right?
I did see him again, but...
So say when he took off the pants, his legs were still massive. It definitely wasn't cotton.
The ruse was over. The cotton ruse, I like to call it, and nobody else does.
Nope.
But that wasn't even the worst trip. The worst trip we had was to oh my god, this is even worse. I mean, obviously, by me calling it the worst, but it just hits me in waves how awful it is. The worst trip we had was to a local pizzeria. That's it.
So, I mean, did you get pizza?
You see, that's the upside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got pizza, and we ate pizza.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's it.
But then when you think about it, just from a trip standpoint,
it's not good.
We went to a local pizzeria.
It wasn't even like a big chain or anything like pizza.
No. It's literally a local locally owned pizzeria. Now everybody loved this pizzeria,
Yeah, it's still pretty badass.
and yeah, and it's still epic.
We ate some earlier. It was delicious.
Yeah, we go there all the time. It's a beloved pizzeria, but I don't want to see somebody make a fucking pizza as a trip.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we got to eat pizza. I'm glad that it all happened as a fucking trip. We went to a local pizzeria.
It's not good.
Watched a grown man try to fucking cater to kids.
Fetuses.
And ultimately just patronize them by doing the whole, I'm going down the stairs thing.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, you got to give the guy credit. I mean,
at least he was.
it's not his job. His job is to own the fucking pizzeria.
I've seen that entire routine with someone
it was
at
horrible.
school too. It's bad.
And the poor man is like, fuck my life. I'm just trying to make a buck making a pizza.
Yeah.
And these fucking idiots bring students as a school trip. Anyway, long story short, after this presentation of him making a pizza, I made a fool of myself. I'm embarrassed. This is actually an embarrassing moment that I just remembered just now.
Breaking news?
Breaking news. I had a shirt on, an orange shirt. I remember it was an orange shirt. And there used to be an old, shitty delivery chain. I think it was a delivery chain. It was a pizza chain anyway, called Pizza Pros. And I had a Pizza Pros emblem right here.
What?
And for some fucking reason, I kept on saying that I was his partner.
Oh no.
What the fuck was that?
Oh no! Did you do a little freaking tap dance?
No.
Soft shoe?
I said it so much that he gave me a look of disdain.
Damn.
Like, what the fuck is this, bro? I'm just trying to make a living here.
Is this the same dude that...
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm glad he doesn't remember.
You think he remembers that?
No, he doesn't remember that.
Shit.
The only reason he remembers me is because of his association with our older brother. But, fucking shit, man. I remembered that just now. But anyway, the point is, our fucking trip was to a pizzeria to watch a man make a pizza.
Pizza Pros.
And the Pizza Pros incident.
I had a pretty bad one. I don't think I've told the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think we mentioned it. But they took us to see freaking dinosaurs.
Oh, the movie?
The movie.
The Disney movie.
The hit film. And it was one of the worst trips I've ever been to. Now, in theory, going to see a movie is pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
We've been to, other trips to see a movie, and it was always like, all right, cool, free movie. But I don't know where this theater is. To this day, I have no idea where this theater is. It was really far. Like, outside the state far. Anyway, we get to this place, and they didn't tell the people that we were going there. So they just freaking herd us into an already in progress movie theater with people in there, and they tell them to move forward. So so they do, and we're seeing dinosaurs. And if you haven't seen dinosaurs, it's probably the most boring flick known to man. I was just like freaking sitting there for an hour and a half, looking at a freaking testicle walk around, waiting for it to die, hoping that it would die. Unfortunately, they never show the death.
Come on, Comet!
Yeah. So it's just like these freaking gigantic testicles walking down a line for like freaking an hour and a half, literally. And everybody's bored, dude. Like, people are falling asleep and shit. I'm like, this sucks massive testicles that I'm seeing on screen. So everybody starts going to the restroom, right? Because that's funner. So I'm like, yeah, all right, everybody already went. It's my turn, right? Get up, walk to a little restroom and shit, and do a little poop.
Like that?
Do a little poop like that. Look at it for like an hour and a half because it's funner than dinosaurs.
And it looks like one, as they were portrayed on that movie.
It really does. Go up to the freaking mirror, look at my testes. I'm like, yep, looks like a dino. So and I walked back to the theater, and right before, like right next to it, freaking Little Nicky is playing. Adam Sandler hit film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so bored with dinosaurs that people were actually like, there was like a group of people outside like, dude, we gotta watch Little Nicky. And freaking testicles are freaking boring as shit. You'd think watching testicles when you're a kid for an hour would be pretty rad. But no, it was boring, dude. Them testicles were freaking boring as shit. They were talking about how they're gonna die, and we didn't not give a shit. We wanted that comet to hit them individually in the face in slow-mo. So, there's like a little group, and I'm like, shit, dude. I'm not a very social guy. I was so bored that I joined the group, and I was like, hell yeah, we're going in. Unfortunately, at that time, the teacher started coming out and was like, hey, freaking hurry up, we're leaving because Moose sucks massive ding-dongs.
Oh, man.
So the teacher rage quit the freaking thing. We all got in a freaking bus and left. And I think we might have left the kid behind because we did go back. I don't know why.
They were that in a rush to get the fuck it.
They're probably a little Nicky or some shit, or exploring their testicles. Anyway, that was pretty bad. But the worst one we'd ever had. I'm sure there was another one, but the worst one I can think of right now was a good old trip to the cemetery to look at the graves. And that's it.
Did you at least take rubbings of the tombstones?
Yeah, actually, they did let us.
By the way, I think it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it's really disrespectful.
Hey, let's take all these fucking snot-nosed brats to a fucking place of rest for the dead, having etch-a-sketch over the fucking tombstone. That sucks.
So yeah, we went to do that. My favorite part was when we got up to a graveyard, and some little kids started crying. They asked her why, and it was his dearly beloved grandma we were doing a little jig on. And I was like, maybe I should stop doing this soft shoe. But I already told everybody that I tap dance.
And to be fair, Scott Joplin was playing in the background. Can't stop once you start.
It's true. Ghouls visited me later on. It wasn't fun, but at the time, it was pretty rad. Anyway, really, we just visited the freaking graveyard and left. And we had to walk there. Like, freaking serious? They don't even drive us there. I'm freaking fat over here. I have to walk over there. Freaking all long. I was all sweating and shit. Freaking my ass stunk when we got back to the classroom. It sucked. Master came some swamp ass.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm still imagining you doing a little soft shoe on the grave. Now, if you haven't grave danced before, I recommend it. Might just lead to some hauntings. But, yeah, man, that's horrible.
It wasn't good.
I thought mine were bad.
Then after...
wait, before you continue... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's still the same one? Go ahead.
No, that was it. I do want to say that after that, though, after a while, they stopped doing big scale trips, and they would just take us to the high school to see pep rallies.
What the fuck?
That's good!
Oh, jeez.
Another one was we went to a park. You know it. Near the zoo, to give you more context. Mm-hmm. We went there and sat, because there's nothing to do in that park. So they literally planned, oh my god.
When you think park, you think, swing sets.
Yeah.
There's none of that in this park.
It was like, dude, they had planned this baby for months. And it was between that, that shitty freaking theme park that they used to be here, but they moved to the other state. So we couldn't go there. That was the one where we always go to at the end of the year. But they had moved, so we had new choices. It was either the zoo, which our zoo sucked, but at least it's a zoo, or that park. They chose that park! And we had months!
Ooh.
And people had to put money. And I put on my little...
What money? There's nothing to
I don't
pay
know.
for.
I put my little $5 in. I was expecting a good old-fashioned cookout or something, right? Nope! We just sat in the sun and watched some ducks walk around.
Man, I believe it. That park has nothing in it. It's just fucking grass and benches.
Yeah, I did go off to there's that little bit of water.
Yeah.
I did go off into that, and there was a little cluster of kids there, and I was like, what the hell are they doing? Went up there. I was expecting a little Nicky situation. They're wanting to drown themselves because freaking park's boring as shit. But no, they're poking a little egg, and I'm like, oh, what's this little egg? A little duck egg. And I was like, shit, a little duck egg. And they were going to grab it and throw it, right? I was like, normally I would be like, no. But I was freaking starving for anything to happen. So I was like, all right, I won't interject. I'll just watch this happen. Broke the little egg. It was like hard-boiled inside. It was weird.
The fuck?
There was no duck.
It was that hot?
It was hot, dude. It was so hot. They had reached in to grab the water, and they were like, ah! It was like legit boiled. I was like, damn, this little egg looks good right now because it didn't provide food for those fat kids! Sucked, man.
Oh, yeah. Food for fat kids. That reminds me of another trip. We took a trip to I guess this is actually somewhere, where you do stuff. They took us to a skating rink and a roller rink, to be precise. And I'm a fat man, or that was a fat kid. So skating kind of not my thing, unless you want to see a ball fall in his face
broken
continuously.
legs and shit.
Yeah, if you like broken legs, skating as a fat kid is the way to go. And I didn't like broken legs, so I took. Coincidentally, we spoke of this recently in one of our other videos. I was reading Congo at the time, and so I'm that fucking dumbass kid that's reading a book instead of doing the fun stuff. But I didn't see that as a fun thing. I didn't see shattering my fucking shins. It's fun. So I'm reading the little Congo book, man, and I remember we had this. Oh man, this teacher. Woo! Man, she was. This is easily one of the hottest women I have ever seen. This teacher. I can't remember her name. I remember her first name, oddly enough. Her first name was Michelle. I can't remember her last name. But anyway, the point is, it doesn't matter. She was smoking hot, and she was really nice. You know that Tiffany Teen chick?
Yes.
If you were on the internet in the early 2000s, you know who Tiffany Teen is.
Definitely don't.
But, picture right here. Hot. That's what she looked like. Anyway, this fucking chick, dude, she was so sympathetic and so kind that she comes up to me and thinks that, you know, somebody has bullied me or somebody has forced me to read a book. Because God forbid a Mexican little brat should read a book.
Well, fat kid.
And she's like, hey, you know, you want to skate? I'll tell you know, Now, this is every kid's, like, dream. But she offers to hold my hand while I skate. But I'm so jaded to this bullshit that I'm like, I mean, first of all, that would just make me look even more pathetic. Mm-hmm. But that other part of me wants to go, man, just to hold her hand would be awesome.
You do a little
and
stroke afterwards.
Just my little loons at the moment she touches my skin. But I was like, no, good, man. I'm reading this little book about apes.
About little apes.
So she was convinced that something had happened. And she kept checking on me, and I was like, oh, man. I'm not going to lie. I felt tempted to make up something had happened just to get a little bit more attention.
You broke your leg in a tragic soft shoe.
But, yeah, man, I didn't. And this other fat chap, a friend of mine named Mikey, you know him, video store Mikey, off the past, he come over, and he's like, hey, I'm fat, too. And
also Ghostbusters, unrelated.
Yeah. He was a big Ghostbusters fan, and he always wore his little proton pack, so that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, he didn't that time, but he should have, because that would have been even
really
better.
Cool. Yeah, a guy reading a little book and
the proton pack having guy doing this, apparently.
Doing a little too.
Yeah, but he decides to form the Fat Kids Not Skating Club, FKNS. Still a proud member to this day. And there's only 2 people in it, me and him. But, yeah, man, that was just one of those moments when I look back and I'm like, yeah, man. What the fuck was that?
That was a thing.
But I don't regret it. You know, that's the weird part. I didn't want to skate, damn it. Yeah, I wanted to read little fucking ape novels and shit. So that's a fucking thing that happened. But on a related note about dinosaurs, we did go to one expensive by our standards trip, and that was to IMAX. And that was like back when IMAX was not a thing that casuals could go to. It was
like an expensive ordeal.
It was a museum, and it had an IMAX theater, and they didn't play cool movies. They played shit made for IMAX, which was usually educational fare. Now, they took us all the way. This was like a good 7-hour drive to get to this IMAX. They took us all the way over there. And we got to the museum, which is pretty cool, you know, whatever. I don't know what the museum was called. Maybe it was an IMAX museum. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Then they took us to see this IMAX movie, and I still remember the name of it. It was called Back to the Cretaceous. And it was basically a dinosaur movie, but an educational dinosaur movie with a story. So
let's talk. Was there ball sacks?
Surprisingly, they didn't look like ball sacks. No. But they didn't look real either. Imagine a big-ass effect on screen with people interacting with it. But the IMAX seating, it was the Dome IMAX. I don't know how many of those are still around, if any.
It's definitely not a standard when you go see a movie.
Yeah, now you think of IMAX, you just think big-ass screen with good-ass sound. Yeah, but
whoa, dude!
Sync! You owe me a Coke, by the way. Yeah. But anyway, it was the Dome IMAX. The screen was a dome. You were leaning in like a fucking 45-degree angle or some shit to watch the dome, and they projected onto there, and you could actually see the film outside, and it was these huge reels that they would play. And so we're watching Back to the Cretaceous. It was, I don't know, like an hour, maybe 35-minute movie. It was short, is what I'm saying here. And we're watching this bullshit. And the only thing that was cool about it is that this seating arrangement and dome structure was so immersive, you know, without being 3D or some shit like that, or virtual reality. It was so immersive, though, that you felt certain things that you saw. For example, there's a helicopter shot that goes over a cliff, and your body instantly has that reaction to, oh shit, it thinks it's falling. It gave me that feeling, which was cool, but everything else about the movie sucked. But anyway, I say all that to say this. A kid pissed his pants during that part. When the fucking thing, dropped off the cliff.
Did you hear Hegel?
No, I heard, I wish Hegel was around back then so I could make fun of his ass. But I just heard in the deafening silence that followed the drop, I think I peed myself! Followed by roaring laughter from every fucking kid and other person in the theater. And then the teacher getting up and escorting the kid out. And then coming back about a minute later. I don't know where she got replacement pants or shorts.
Oh, that was a thing. Like, you had to... I don't know about you, but whenever we would have to go to school for, like, the first couple of years, you would have to take replacement pants. And
this was not the first couple of years.
All right.
This was junior high.
Oh, man.
So he came back with shorts. And not boxers, and not little shorts that you could fit under your fucking pants. Big ass, like, basketball style shorts. And I'm like, yeah, this kid came prepped for this pissorama.
Yeah,
anyway, that would have been cool if we saw a cool movie, but, back to the Cretaceous. I will grant you that it was better than Dinosaurs, which I haven't seen,
it still
but
sucks.
I know sucks. Case in point, Senor Spielbergo, who is a huge fan of dinosaurs, he's made appearances here on the show before. Or that's right, appearance of the show, but he's made appearances before. He's a huge fan of dinosaurs in general. And he was excited for this movie. And I was like, dude, I don't know, man. It's a Disney movie. This is before Disney was making, high quality.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a
fare.
Pixar movie.
It wasn't a Pixar movie. It doesn't look very good. Visually, I mean, it looked all right, from what we saw in the trailers. Mm-hmm. And he went to see it over the weekend. On the Monday, I asked him, hey, what's up with that dinosaurs? And he goes, whoop, silence, and that just the dropping head. And I'm like, what, did it suck? And he goes, oh, it sucked. Ass.
It wasn't good.
And that was the review that everybody gave it.
Probably going to be one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life, mainly because I was a kid and it kind of became, it's kind of like burned into my mind, those scrotums.
It's weird. You probably will rewatch it and be like, oh, that was great.
That bad, yeah.
Yeah, although I doubt it because it looked like anus.
Massive scrotums. I think the coolest ones we ever went to were probably the ones to the museum.
Yeah, the Interactive Science Museum.
Yeah, especially the first one we went to because my mom went with us. That was kind of cool. Other than that, trip-wise kind of stunk. In Arizona, we did have a pretty neat trip in that we went to see a play, Aladdin, live. The play itself sucked my ding-a-ling, but there was food, so that was good.
Well, that just reminds me, I've mentioned this before, but I wasn't in school when I went on this one. I had graduated the year previous, but my girlfriend was still in school. Well, my girlfriend at the time, I should say, was still in school. And she was in her senior year. I had graduated the year before. And one of my former teachers was one of her current teachers. And they went on a school trip to go see Les Miserables on stage, the Broadway musical, with a traveling Broadway cast. And she invited me to go, and I went. So I guess it counts as a school trip, but it wasn't when I was in school.
Yeah.
It was literally, seriously, dude, you couldn't do this a year before when I was still in school? No, you wait the year after?
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was fucking awesome. So I guess they got lucky right after I left.
I'll say that too. When I was in Arizona, the grade above me had a trip to freaking, like, straight out of freaking town and shit. I think it was to Washington, which would have probably sucked. But they got out of state field trips, which I never saw. But apparently you had to pay a buttload to go on them. Like, it was $200 or something.
Yeah, but that's pretty worth it. That's pretty good. Washington's pretty cool. I haven't been there, but I would love to.
He's a pretty cool guy.
I would love to.
George Washington Carver.
Visit the old peanut butter museum. Anyway, it's been Ahab and the Goon Tick reminiscing about school field trips. What have been some of your shitty ass ones, and what have been some good ones? Certainly none of ours, because ours stunk.
Hashtag George Washington Carver.
Hashtag dinosaur sacks. Anyway, hit like, share, subscribe to those notification buttons, because we're out.
Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Anything goes inside the night from a cup of corpulent juice. Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Anything goes inside the night.